Getting sober does not mean that things are magically going to get better between you and your person. Getting sober was not going to mean that my wife and I were going to suddenly have a perfect relationship. Those blinders were taken off years ago when I first got sober. All getting sober means is you now have a chance to daily prove that you're actually going to be different. And that takes a lot of work. What's going on, guys? My name is Noah, and in this video, I just want to talk. I just want to go back to old school content where we just talk. You, and me. The power of this whole thing is that even though I'm here, right, in this little space, it's just us. I doubt you're watching this with someone, and I do believe there's power in this time we can share together. You can communicate to me via comments. You can reach out to me and be a part of this conversation that way. And then I can just level with you, man to man, man to woman, whoever's watching, about real things. Like my authenticity, my ability to freely, openly, and honestly examine myself and how I interact with this world is one of my abilities. It's one of my uniquely qualified gifts on this platform. No one knows my mind like I do, right? And I want to share that with you today in regards to my relationship with my wife, Jessie, since I got sober. I don't plan on doing any edits. This might take a while. And if you're down for a long, more personal, reflective video on the struggles of early sobriety, how that pertains to reforming and reshaping relationships that have been deeply impacted by addiction, then I'm really glad you're here. And I hope you stay. And I hope that there's something in this video for you. Sincerely. First of all, I want to, for those who don't know who Jessie is, I want to introduce you to her. Jessie is this young lady right there. Yeah, that's Jessie. She's my wife. I've been with her for coming up on 10 years we've been dating, and we're coming up on 3 years that we've been married. And this girl has seen every phase of me. This video is going to pertain to how our relationship dynamics have altered and changed since I stopped drinking. If you didn't know, I'm an alcoholic in early recovery. And I mean early recovery. I've been sober only a few days past 2 months, last 65 days or so. And I'm really grateful for that, and I'm really proud of that. But getting sober, it puts you in touch with a handful of things. You see things a bit more clearly. A bit is an understatement. You see things a lot more clearly. And one of the things that I've been able to assess with a little more clarity is how managed is a rough word, how poorly I have handled my relationship with my wife, how neglected that relationship had become, how disconnected we had become in a lot of ways. And that's been necessary but difficult. A little backstory that perhaps will give you some perspective. When I first met Jessie, I was coming out of a toxic relationship. I was deep in my alcoholism back then. That was when I was 21. I'm 31 now. I met Jessie and I was I don't know, 30 days sober, something like that. I'd been on a 9-month bender. And Jessie became my everything. Very typical behavior of someone who doesn't want to work on this, right? Put all your energy, hopes, and interests into someone else. And so I did. When we first met, it was magic. It was exciting. It was all-encompassing. We both just threw ourselves into our relationship. She was coming off a relationship. She's not an addict or an alcoholic, but we both kind of just sought comfort and refuge in one another. We really did. And it worked for a while. I mean, we spent all of our time together. I improved a lot of my issues, my behaviors. I was able to refocus on her. But after a while, the draw to drink, the calling to drink, the obsession to drink came back. And that started a pattern in our relationship that has held strong to this day, 10 years later. And that pattern being, I get sober for a time, I clean up my act, and then I go back out drinking, and I tear everything I've done back down. Jessie is a normie. She's what you'd call a normie, as in she does not think or behave alcoholically or like an addict. Therefore, a guy like me, an alcoholic, a relatively well-spoken one at that, and I'll explain why that's relevant, I've been able to manipulate my way in and out of drinking for years, but it's been getting less and less convincing. My drinking has progressed, as these things tend to do, and our relationship has suffered for it. When I'm sober, we certainly get closer, but I still don't address the elephant in the room, which is me being an alcoholic. And yeah, me being sober is enough for a while. It's always been enough for a while to do the right thing. Like, I have the desire to do the right thing, but it never ends up being enough to sustain a recovery style life, a life where the addict or alcoholic, me, puts that first in order to maintain everything else. And it's been really kind of heartbreaking this round of sobriety to once again reflect on this pattern we are stuck in. And because of this pattern, I can tell you very, very assertively that Jessie is not impressed anymore with the act of getting sober, the act of not drinking. She's past being impressed by that. She's been impressed in the past when I've gotten sober because she fell in love with me sober. You know, we got married. I was almost 2 years sober. The person that she decided to spend her life with was a sober person. And then she gets trapped with this alcoholic version of me that always seems to come out to play. And in the early days of getting sober, as I said, it was this tremendous thing. Like, I was just praised, and I felt like I just went from bad to good instantly just by making that choice. And there was almost like a rush that came out of that, this vitality, this sense of hope and possibility for the future. It just returned to us as a couple. But Jessie's grown weary of these changes in me. She has. She's seen it too many times. And this last bout of drinking, it was the heaviest I've ever drank. And in retrospect, it was the most disconnected we'd ever become. The weird thing about being in your addiction and being in a committed relationship, at least for me, I of course can only speak for me, I didn't realize that we weren't doing so well. And I think it's very apparent now, but in that space of continuously binge drinking, recovering from my drinking episodes, being hungover, the obsession to drink more, this unmanageability, just me trying to puppeteer this life to look okay, be a good husband, be a good guy, but then still just be so self-absorbed and lost in my addictive behavior. It clouded me from the fact that I've more been trying to pull off my marriage, pull off my relationship, than actively be a part of it. I really have. And you don't see that. I didn't see that so clearly when I was still drinking. I just didn't. I thought I was doing fine. I mean, I really did. I didn't think I thought I was doing fine. You know, I think I tremendously underestimated how emotionally unavailable I've been for so long, and the impact that's had on her and the impact that's had on us. I could see it in other places, right? Like, I could see this chaos I was causing in my physical health, in my depression, my mental health. I could see it in my productivity like crazy for my business. I was like performing at such a low clip, and I knew that, barely getting by. But I couldn't see it in my relationship. I was like, I thought to myself, I'm still nice to her. We still hook up sometimes. You know, we laugh together, but we come into this dynamic of just kind of just being buddies. But I did my own thing. She did her own thing a lot. Like, a lot. I had no idea how often she was alone. And therefore I was alone. So we were like isolated from one another constantly. I had no sense of it at the time. I'd put her to bed type of thing, and then I'd go downstairs and drink. Anyway, I won't belabor that anymore, but let's just say we grew apart a bit in the last couple of years, and I am 100% the main problem in creating that. How do you stay close and connected to an active addict or alcoholic? It's damn near impossible, and I can't believe I didn't see that. But I didn't. And at this point, it doesn't matter. I see it now, and I'm grateful for that introspection. I'm grateful for the fact that I have some clarity, some. It's layers of an onion, understanding the impact that I've had on the people in my life, most important person in my life being my wife, Jessie. It's layers. Peeling back layers of the onion. And as for the topic of this video, well, we're like forever into this video, but bringing it to present day, I knew that getting sober again for the umpteenth time, I knew that if it had any chance of being different, it was going to need to be very few words, and a ton of action. This is the part of the video that might surprise a few guys. I think what happened, especially towards the end of this couple-year bender, you would say, couple-year spree, is that Jessie was in like a crux for needing to survive herself and not being able to detach from me completely. I think she was having feelings, and I'm learning that she was having feelings like, I can't go on like this, I can't do this anymore. And I do believe that had I not made the decision once more to be sober, and more importantly to work a recovery program, I do believe I was going to lose my wife, maybe sooner than later. I don't know. But I do know that she was stuffing. She was stuffing her feelings and her emotions and her anger and her hurt away tight, so that when I actually got sober, and this being the part that might surprise some dudes, she was kind of angry. Like it finally came out of her, because she actually saw me for a second. Like the veil came up from my addict eyes, my alcoholic eyes, and she expressed a kind of a surprising amount of anger and hurt. And I could tell that she didn't give a shit if I was sober, because she didn't believe it. It's like, cool, you're sober again. Great. I mean, obviously that's her hope and her dream, but I think she lost that hope. I think deep down she was trying to like come to terms, and she can clarify this, so I'm not trying to actually speak for her, but I think she was just trying to come to terms like, can I live with this forever? If I can't, how do I get out of there? Because this is toxic, right? This is not going to end well. I don't know, how do I decide? And so what I've found is that what my wife needs right now is a tremendous amount of consistency. And she needs to see that I'm doing something different, and so do I. And so what I've done different since I got sober is, one, I've had to make peace with the fact that I've really hurt this woman. I really, really have. And she's entitled to feel whatever she's feeling, and I need to 100% let her. I need to not make excuses for anything. I need to live my amends. How can I live my amends? I can do it differently than I've done it in the past. And that's going to take a ton of time. And so far, what I have done is I've gone to 12-step meetings every day. I'm working every week with a drug and alcohol counselor. I have a sponsor in the 12-step meetings. I have a service position. And I'm trying to hear and listen more than speak. And I'm trying to be very, very patient, because it took a lot of time to stuff this poor woman down and bury her in this weird toxic dynamic we had. And it's going to take a lot of time to come out of it. And the first month of being sober was tough for our relationship. It's like I got sober, and I felt like we both just took a breath, and we were like, whoa, what just happened? What the hell just happened these last couple of years? And she went through a lot of emotions that she wasn't able to process before. And she seemed angry with me. And I felt more apart from her than ever. Just disconnected. But I'm realizing that we were that disconnected. I just wasn't in touch with it. Now that I am, I'm like, oh, this is so sad. Like my favorite person, my wife, my best friend, we are not that close right now. We love each other, but we are definitely, we've not been close for a while. And that was a tough pill to swallow, but it's a worthy fight to get close again. And I know for a fact that I have the chance to get close and make it right by doing the right things and being patient. Living my apology, not making my apology. I'm well past that. And I don't care how long it takes. I'm going to live my apology every single day. That is the plan. Turn it over to God and just do the next right thing. And I can already tell you that we are feeling much closer today, 65 days sober, whatever I am, than we were 2 months ago. And I have every bit of hope that we are going to feel that much closer in 2 months from now, so long as I continue to surrender to this process, so long as I continue to live my amends and be the person I'm intending to be the person she married, one decision at a time. And I'm okay with that. I really am okay with that. We're going to re-fall in love with each other. I really believe that. But wow, had I done some damage to this marriage. So it's not all sunshine and butterflies right away, but we're talking more already, and I'm hearing her for the first time in a long time. It's like she's thinking of the future again, and so am I. And I didn't even know we had stopped doing that. But it's really exciting. It's like I'm getting to know her again. And I want to clarify, when I say we're falling in love, I just mean that clearly love has kept us, has held us together. But in my opinion, love is not enough. If a relationship is bad, if it has just an issue that is so deep-rooted like addiction, loving someone isn't enough. And so when I say that we're falling back in love, is that we're finally having an organic, real, genuine time together. I'm going to bed with her again. We're going out more. We're being healthy for each other. I'm able to actually be a healthy presence in her life again. And so we're falling for the versions of one another that we originally signed on for, you know? Her signing on for more than me. She's done a pretty great job at being consistent in my life. Unlike me, who there's really no telling what version of me is going to be coming home. I think when I'm sober, I'm sure it's just like, okay, when is he going to drink again? And then when I'm in my addiction, it's like, how drunk will he be tonight? How hungover will he be tomorrow? Will he handle his responsibilities? Will I be going to bed with my husband tonight? Probably not. You know, there's so much uncertainty, and that must have created trauma for her. It feels good just to reflect on all this. I'm totally okay with the fact that this video's run long. I just needed to share this with you. I've been wanting to share this with you, but I love my wife. I see her today, and I'm so grateful that I'm sober and I can see her. She's so beautiful. She's worth seeing, and it's going to be okay. Ain't she pretty? This is right before we got married. Right before we got married. That's my update about my wife. Lord knows what I've said at this point. Thank you for your time. If you made it this far in the video, put the word WOV. WOV. I'm sticking with WOV. Please join the conversation. I'm not talking at you. I understand the power of this interaction. I'm talking with you. I know I've taken up a lot of your time, but make sure that you're sharing your experiences with me, your stories, your thoughts. I just want to read them. I want to connect with you. And I want to wish you hope in your relationships if they've been damaged like mine was with addiction or just neglect or just distraction, you know. If your relationship isn't as healthy as you want it to be, I just encourage you with everything I've got to work really, really hard to fix that and to see what your part in it was and just to be patient. Because I can't control my wife. I can only control me and how I behave, and she reciprocates positivity so well, and she absorbs and resiliently holds on to negative situations. I think there's just some survivor in her that doesn't want to give up. Thank God she didn't want to give up on me. I'm rambling. Adios. Appreciate you. We'll do another update soon. Yeah.